Buonasera a tutti gli spettatori di Chinodromo per questo primo appuntamento per il mese di maggio con la nostra programmazione ed è anche l'appuntamento che inaugura il mese conclusivo della programmazione di Chinodromo che, come sapete, è stata è stata completamente online a causa delle restrizioni dovute alla pandemia. Non vogliamo rivelare troppo, speriamo di riuscire a fare una capatina in sala prima di chiudere questo mese, ma non abbiamo ancora l'assoluta certezza riguardo a tutto ciò, quindi per il momento continuiamo con l'online. Siamo qui per presentarvi un film che è stato visto da noi e molto apprezzato alla scorsa edizione del Festival di Torino. Il film è Rifle and the Bag e abbiamo con noi le registe che lo hanno realizzato. A moderare con me questo evento c'è anche Giulia Silano che si occupa della programmazione. Ciao Giulia.
Ciao.
Vuoi introdurre tu le registe?
Sì, abbiamo Isabella e Cristina da Roma e invece c'è Arya che ci chiama dall'India, perciò abbiamo fatto questa chiamata registrata, così lei poteva esserci con un orario, diciamo, umano, lì è pomeriggio.
Comincia pure tu con
Inizierei...
qualche domanda, se così andiamo subito al sodo.
Sì, sì. Vabbè, inizierei chiedendovi come vi siete conosciute, come è nato il vostro collettivo. Traduco così anche Cristina e Arya capiscono. How did you meet each other? And how did the No Cut Film Collective originated?
Okay, maybe I start and then the girls continue.
Yes.
Because we always have the issue on who starts replying to the questions. So the three of us met while studying in a master course in documentary directing. The course is called Doc Nomads, and it takes place in 3 different cities, in Lisbon, Brussels, and Budapest. So for 2 years, we've been living together, studying together, working together on short films. And we saw that this collaboration was very fruitful. And once we graduated, which was in 2016, we knew that we wanted to keep continuing working together. And I mean, we would have anyway continued hanging out, even though each one of us went back to their own home. But because of this geographical distance even more, we wanted to kind of give us a framework. And so we decided to found the collective, and we gave ourselves a name. And since then, we started our journey. So, okay. And the first thing that we did was that Cristina and I went to visit Arya in India. And then some of them can take it from here.
Who wants to talk?
Yeah, I can go. So like Isa was saying that right after the college, Cristina and Isa both came to India. And then 3 of us, for 3 months, we extensively traveled in India. We were looking for a film to make. And then we went to visit one of my close family friends, who is the doctor in the film. And when we were over there, we happened to meet Sumi. And then the first time we met her, we really thought that, and we heard about her story and we saw the settlement, we really thought that there was a film that we could start building from that moment. So yeah, that's how it happened.
Okay, we'll know if also Cristina has something to say.
Yeah, I think about if we are to talk about the collective a bit more. Yeah, as Isa was saying, we try to find a framework in which we could work independently, and a bit to question the hierarchical structure in which filmmaking is usually done. So that's why we wanted in this particular project to start off like a fully collaborative project in which
we would be involved in every aspect of filmmaking. And so we also signed the film as co-authors. And back to the film, like Arya was saying, the film happened because we met Somi, and she impressed us very much from the first moment we saw her, because she was very outspoken. She had such a strong presence, and the little we found out during that first encounter about her past was, yeah, a very challenging starting point, but we thought that it will it can develop into a very complex film, and it was something we were very interested to explore. More exactly the political engagement in, let's say, in this level of grassroots that we never had a chance to hear, like a first-hand experience like Somi had.
Thank you very much. Vai Giulia con
The
un'altra
Cut
domanda.
Film Collective is about your directing style, your collective directing style, based on long take, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is the hint. It starts from there, in the idea that, like, I mean, aware that film itself, like the film language, it is very manipulative. So we are not, I mean, we don't fool ourselves into thinking that you could actually film reality, whatever that would mean. But like this long takes, the let's say the attempt to construct a film with the minimal editing, without having too much of a manipulative and intensive editing structure, let's say. It is something that we do research, is something that we do strive for. And so, yeah, it starts from there. Then, of course, it doesn't mean that every film that we will do will necessarily have the same exact language, but it is definitely like a background that we want to keep in our mind, let's say.
And how do you conciliate three different point of views about directing one film? Come accade una regia collettiva in pratica?
You guys want to say?
We studied together, so we had a common knowledge of cinema from where it came. We had worked together on short films before when we were studying, so we knew that we were thinking of like what matters to us in cinema, even though we might have some individual choices, was pretty much the same. So it was not as difficult or as variant as one would have imagined when we actually started working together. So our process was also that we would discuss everything, all the creative choices we talked and we made together. And then when we were actually filming, we had our individual roles that we were kind of following just to avoid chaos while we are filming. And then once we were done filming, we would get the material and sit back together again and discuss the further approach. So that's how we made it work, basically.
Okay.
And forse c'è Andrea che voleva chiedere invece della famiglia.
Io prima di tutto volevo chiedere se potevate raccontarci brevemente di che cosa parla questo film, prima di andare a parlare proprio del film nello specifico. Quindi, how is Arrive on the Back about, and why you wanted to tell this story in this way? I don't know who wants to to answer. Maybe Cristina, who talks maybe really best.
Sorry, you were asking what is the film about?
Yes.
And why? Okay.
Yes.
So the film tells the story of Somi and her family, but Somi and her husband Sukram used to be Naxalite fighters. The Naxalite movement is a guerrilla group that fights for the rights of the indigenous communities of India. They are considered to be the most threatening for the internal security of India, and they have been the movement has been active since 1967. So the story of the film revolves around Somi and her husband who surrendered a decade ago from the movement, and they surrendered to the police in the hope that they can integrate into the society and form a family. In the current struggle they are having in the film is to educate their little son, who is about to start primary school, and because of their past, they are encountering several obstacles that stops him from getting the education. I think maybe the girls will continue why we wanted to make film.
Isa, you go.
About the why. So as it was mentioned before, like Somi was like the main reason in a way, because while we were researching, we were informed about the settlement of former Naxalite fighters, and we got intrigued by this position of someone who joined a violent fight and then decided to resign from it. So we were triggered by the general topic, let's say the general setting of this group, which is, I mean, they are increasing in the years. Over the years, they've been increasing because the Indian government is encouraging them into surrendering, of course. And so we went to visit this settlement, and we met Somi. And the idea that that is behind the film is to present like an issue that is quite, I mean, that is very politically charged, especially in India. It is less known in Europe, but in India is like one of the main issues, as Cristina was saying. And it's usually like presented always in the hot topic kind of a way. So like with a very polarized view, with some that are incredibly supportive of them and others that are very much against. And we wanted to like show a more personal story, a more personal view to avoid let's say a judgment in itself, because we don't think we would be entitled to do so, nor knowledgeable enough, but at the same time to make it more universal, because for us the story of Somi and her family, it is obviously absolutely rooted in the place and time in which it takes place, but it's also like a universal story about what it is to forge a new identity once your life have been devoted to a cause that then you decided to drop in a way because of disillusionment, because of hope for a different life. And so for us, like these are the universal themes. And also, what does it take to, start a family in such a condition, and how to grant your children different and better chances than the one you had, to avoid that the circle repeats in a way. So I would say that this was the intention.
Ok, perfetto. Giulia, vuoi magari porre un'altra domanda alle nostre ospiti?
Beh, noi abbiamo avuto questa anteprima per Chinodromo, ma avete già in mente di fare altre proiezioni, magari anche in presenza? This is a film premiere, online premiere for Chinodromo, but I wanted to ask if you look forward to other film screening, maybe physical screening.
I mean, we are craving for a physical screening this mid-pandemic. Actually, I think all of us miss the cinema and the theaters and the darkness and just watching the film. But it's still good to know that online festivals are happening and the work hasn't disappeared, but it's being shown some or the other way. So even if we can't travel, it's nice to know that the film can travel and that the film is being shown at your festival. And I mean, and it's nice that it's finding audiences that we would have otherwise maybe not have imagined, considering the current situation. But maybe the girls want to say more.
Thank you. Ok, Giulia, avevi altre domande che ti eri preparata o altre curiosità?
No, beh, sulla famiglia abbiamo già parlato.
Sì, quindi abbiamo chiesto, ecco, forse l'ultima curiosità che era mia personale, vorrei chiedervi qualcosa di più appunto su come è stato lavorare con i vostri personaggi e quindi come loro hanno reagito, se sono in qualche modo, diciamo, prestati a tutto questo oppure è stato molto più complicato. So, how was your approach to your characters, and how was their reaction to your work, to your about shooting them, and how were their feeling while you were shooting this movie?
I can start.
Yes.
Well, I think the most challenging part in the filming process yes, was the fact that we were filming without understanding the language. Not even Arya could understand the dialogues between the characters. They are speaking tribal languages, and this was actually, I think, the fact that we didn't understand was while filming was helpful for them because they could have the comfort of their own language. And while they speak also Hindi, of course, and we could communicate, Arya could communicate outside the filming space with them in Hindi. And then with us, yes, Arya had to facilitate the communication. But in the end, of course, it wasn't so complicated as it might look, because we had a very close relationship with Somi, and I think it can show also in the film the fact that she doesn't feel hindered by the camera, and this is because us four could build very fast a trust and a sort of a warm relationship, because I think she understood that we were not interested in her just because of her controversial past. We were very much interested in her as a person, in how she thinks and how she feels towards her current life and her motherhood experience. So I think the fact that everything that was part of her life had the same weight for us, I think this for Somi was very important to see from us. And as you could see, she is very good in guiding also the others in the scene with her, because she's quite a dominant person in the relationship with her husband, but at the same time they have a sort of a beautiful balance. So Somi, I think, had in a way, yeah, we always say that the film was directed by us four, together with Somi, because she could really understand, without explaining very much, our intention, and it overlapped with her intention as well. Let's say it was, I think, our relationship prompted a sort of reflection about her past and about her life that would probably not have happened otherwise, because it was because she had so much to deal with in her current life, and we think that this was where the bonding happened in a really truthful and powerful way between us four. And they saw the film, but Arya can tell you more because we couldn't be there when they watched the film, so it was only Arya.
Please.
As soon as we finished the cut, we showed the film to Somi, and then we had a Skype call together with Cristina there. So we tried to capture the moment. She really liked the film. She really thought that it was a film about her as a mother first, and then her as a ex-guerrilla, or her as an ex-Naxalite. And she thought that there are many women, or there are many mothers like her who are going through a very similar crisis. So it's not just about her, but she is more of a representation of. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
My internet just went. So she's more of. So she felt that the film represents many mothers who are facing a very similar issue that she's also facing, which we thought was a really nice way that she approached the film.
I don't know if Isabella has something to say more about this.
I think they covered everything. Like, yeah, probably just one thing that the close bonding that we developed is because while filming, we spent a lot of time with them. Like, the film has been done over the course of 3 years, and we would go like for months extensively and be with them like every day, which eventually made them very comfortable with our presence there. It was not like the filming happened in a very, very long span of time, which obviously made the camera, let's say, not so threatening. But yeah, they said it all.
And just one small byproduct of the film, the Dadu, the kid in the film, did manage to get his caste certificate. I don't know how much we had to do with it, but we were going to the officers and doing everything. So he finally got his documentation. So that was also a nice thing that came up.
Great, thank you. We are finishing the time in our disposition, so we have to close this interview. But we want to thank you for being with us, and we will. I hope we will meet in the future, maybe physically in our wonderful theater that is Europa Cinema. So thank you again, grazie ancora.
Nice to meet you.
Grazie
Thank
mille.
you so much.
E ricordo a tutti i nostri spettatori che appunto ora potrete vedere Rifle and the Bag sempre sulla piattaforma OpenDDB. Noi ci vediamo settimana prossima con il prossimo Kino Talk, che riguarderà il film L'Agnello di Mario Piredda, e poi torneremo con la nostra proposta di film il lunedì successivo con Mondovisioni. Quindi grazie a tutti per averci seguito e buona serata e buona visione.